to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today I'm here on a beautiful day with Al in Japan. Hello, Al.
Hello. Hey,
How
good
are
to
you
see you.
doing?
Not bad, not bad at all.
Good, good. So a few weeks ago, Al and I went to a beer festival in Kyoto, and this was the 10th anniversary festival for Kyoto Brewing, where they had booths from 20 different breweries that collaborated with them in the past year. And one of those breweries was Godspeed out of Toronto, Canada. And they have made a beer which we're going to review today. The name of this beer is
Rekishi
Rikishi
history.
in Nihongo in Japanese and history in English, an exact translation. And this beer is a very unusual beer, so we're going to spend a little time talking about it. But first, let's talk a little bit about Kyoto Brewing and Godspeed Brewery, the two breweries that collaborated on this here. Alan, what can you tell us about Kyoto Brewing Company?
Well, as you mentioned, it was their 10th anniversary. And for most of that time, up through last year, Chris Heine was the head brewer. And then James Fox came on well, I think it was about May or so.
Mhm.
And they decided to rebrand and into a 2.0. And so one of their strategies was to do lots of collaborations. And the sheer variety, they did 20 collaborations over the course from his arrival. And
Mhm.
that's pretty mind-blowing. The styles are everything from Mexican white beers to sours to
Golden Stout.
this really unique
Yeah.
Scotch ale. Just amazing variety. The
Hmm.
new head brewer, James Fox, I think he's just hit the ground running, and he's very interested in experimenting, and that really came through, I think, this last year. And I think they succeeded in,
Yeah.
rebranding. Basically, also they changed their labels up, as part of that. But I think substantially, the doors are open for whatever they want to do from here on. So.
Let's get to Godspeed, though. Godspeed, they are a Canadian brewery out of Toronto, Canada, but the head brewer, Luc Lafontaine, has a history with Japan. He moved here
Yep.
and he had actually worked with Dieu du Ciel in Canada, and then moved to Japan, and he opened Ushitora, which was a very experimental sort of brewery. Their motto was extreme beer only, and then he moved back to Canada to start Godspeed, and I think they started in 2018 or so. However, he apparently now divides his time between Canada and Japan. So he is in
Hmm.
Japan half of the year and half of the year in Canada as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so and actually, a friend of mine called him one of the few beer gods that he knows of, and I think that included
Yeah.
he mentioned Alan Sprints at Hair of the Dog, Gunstahler
Hmm.
in Germany, and Luc Lafontaine. So
Wow. Yeah. Well, he's
okay,
kind of legendary. Yeah. Luke
yeah,
is legendary.
he is, and he
So,
was at the
yeah.
festival as well when we went there. Okay, now this beer is called History, which of course is a nice name to give your anniversary beer, your 10th anniversary beer. It is a wee heavy Scotch ale, and it comes in at 8.5% with only 10 international bittering units. But the Kyoto Brewing does have a history with Luke. Apparently, he uh, they he helped them out a lot when they were starting out, and apparently it was hard for them to decide on the style of anniversary beer, especially after this whole year of experimentation of all these collaborations here. Um, but they decided to work with Luke on this one. And this one has a very, very unusual process. Al, you want to talk about how they did this beer?
Well, yeah, I can't say from start to finish, but the smoking element at the 10th anniversary, James talked about spending kind of inserting burning wood chips into
the bright tank.
was it the final tank?
The bright tank.
The bright tank, and doing it half a dozen times. Of course, the chips would go out and you have to relight them and then you'd put it back in order to create enough smoke. And then I guess they also charred or burnt the iyokan, the peel of this citrus peel, as well. And so this is, I mean, no one's ever done that before. And I think that was how he presented it to Luke was, would you like to try doing something like this? And it's never been done before. So quite a unique way of smoking a beer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I tried to get my head around it, and I wrote to Kyoto Brewing asking me to tell me exactly what they did. And this is a 2,000-liter tank, the bright tank, which is the final conditioning tank for the beer. And apparently it took inspiration from a smoky cocktail where you put smoke into the glass and then pour your ingredients into that. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah. And they also said they were basing it on an old-fashioned cocktail as well, which has a whiskey, bitters, and sugar in it as well. They used Iyokan peel from Wakayama Prefecture, Iyokan. The boil for this that was 3 hours long, which is, of course, typically a boil for a beer will be an hour or so. This was 3 hours, and the idea is to concentrate the sugars and allow for some caramelization for the beer as well. And as Al said, they'd used oak chips, set them on fire, transfer the beer, and let it sit on the charred wood chips. And yeah, I've never heard of a beer like this before. So the malts for this are Maris Otter, Special B, Rye Crystal. The hops, only one, East Kent Goldings. And the other ingredients include raw sugar, the Iyokan peel, which, as Al mentioned, were charred, grains of paradise, and the wood chips. I thought, how can wood chips be an ingredient? Well, they charred them and left them in the bright tank. So they're part of the beer. So we both had this at the festival, and I think someone commented that it tasted different on tap and in cans, and we will find out how this is. So, okay, anything else you want to add now before we get to it?
Yeah, I think James mentioned that this can age, and it makes sense because the long boil, high alcohol, maltiness and the sugars that are in it. So you might want to get a can of this to set aside and try it again in winter or fall. So that's kind of what we're thinking of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And one more thing is the logo for Godspeed here. According to a website I saw, they said their name is based on a Japanese movie called Godspeed, Black Emperor from the 70s. On the other hand, someone else said, well, Godspeed is the name of one of the 3 ships that brought the pilgrims over from the Netherlands. And so, and they do have a ship on it. So I didn't have a chance to ask Luke, but that sounds more likely to me that
there's some symbolism going on here. Yeah.
So, well, Godspeed. Let's drink.
Okay.
8% alcohol.
Godspeed, 10 Black Emperor.
IBUs.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Okay, let me go. Wow. Well, that's a rich color.
Well, it certainly is.
Wow. That could be a meal in a glass there.
Okay. Yeah, it is a orange, reddish brown sort of color with a medium tan head.
Ooh. You should mention that, or I should mention that I've had my can out for about 40 minutes out of the fridge just to let it, because it is a heavier style.
I should have done that too. Mine came straight out of the fridge.
But
Okay. Well,
Mm.
so you probably got a little bit more to say about the nose than I do, since yours is warmer.
Yeah. Initially, yeah, I wouldn't say it's closed down, but it's I think it's going to open up in the glass because it is a big, rich beer.
Okay.
Definitely some roasted caramel malt.
Absolutely. I'm getting some smoke for sure right away, too.
Yeah, the smoke, when I got this at the festival, I just started drinking it without, it was my first beer at the festival.
First
Even though I
beer.
knew it was, yeah, 8.5%. I thought I've got to go for this.
Oh my.
But the smoke is subtle. So, I mean,
Settled.
yeah, you got to spend a moment and really take it in, but it's there. There's I don't know if it's spice or if that's citrus from those peels, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Got kind of a complex nose. It's changing. Even
It
if
is.
1 minute, it's continuing to change.
Getting a little bit of cola, like cola element.
Wow.
Some small alcohol fumes as well. Well, cheers, Alan.
Pie. Here we go. Blink. Mm.
But certainly rich and malty.
Wow. Yeah, rich, round, roasty. Mm. It's got some spice in the background.
Does.
And again, maybe that's part of that yokon, a little bit of bitterness from the
A
yokon.
little bit. It has rye in it as well, and I'm getting a little bit of that rye scratchiness kind of note as
Oh,
well.
that's an interesting comment. I forgot about that. Wow.
So Maris Otter, we know, I think, classic British malt. Special B, I'm not sure what it is, but rye definitely adds a different element to this.
Yeah. I'm definitely getting the citrus peel
Mm-hmm.
in the flavor.
Oh my, yes, yes.
Wow.
Do you
It's
know Greens
changing
of
in the
Paradise?
glass.
Do
I
you know?
I've I don't really. I mean, I've had it, I believe, but I don't remember the characteristics of it. What are the
I'm not sure. I mean, I know I've read about it as a brewing adjunct, but no, I'm not sure exactly what it would be.
yeah, I wonder what
It's not
that does. That's a good
it's not the
question.
typical kind of spice you would see at a supermarket.
Yeah. If this were, and this reminds me of the kind of comments sometimes about like Christmas cake and with like brown spices, maybe that you would get like maybe possibly nutmeg,
Oh,
kind of a dark baking spices, like Christmas cake. I can see that this style tends to have that kind of sweetness and those elements in it anyway.
mhm.
Mm,
This is really something. Yeah, that orange does come out, doesn't it?
mm.
Eokan. We should mention. I'm sorry. Eokan is a type of Japanese citrus fruit, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it tends
so
to be pretty sour and bitter.
yeah,
It's
more
one of
like
the
kind of like grapefruity sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would put it like that. The pith, that white part of it is really quite bitter. That comes through here, but so does the kind of the orange or the yokon fruit flavor as well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that when it was in the on tap. I didn't notice that. And maybe it was the temperature and the environment. And it was my first beer, and I was just happily knocking it back. Um, wow. Yeah, this has got complexity. This will definitely age. So I think we've got to pick up some more cans here.
This would be one to age for sure, I think. Um, yeah, the body seems light to me for 8.5% and all the malt and the heavy boil. Um, it's not as thick as
It's
I would
yeah,
expect.
it's not. Yeah, it's got. It's I would still call it full. Well, maybe medium full bodied. It's
Yeah,
not heavy at all.
it's not a
Um,
criticism. I'm just saying it's not as thick
yeah,
and heavy as a.
Yeah, it's interesting. This
I would
it's
expect.
not like there's a lot of extra fattiness on it. No, maybe the sugars have fermented out. They've obviously fermented it out fairly far, so there's the residual sugar is moderate
Mhm.
as compared to what it could be. You
True,
could
true.
have a full-on quad style or
It might
something,
be too
but
sweet, yeah.
this is not a quad, right? This is definitely
Mm.
that may be more of a British style. I don't know, to be honest.
You know what I'm getting
Oh
is
yeah, I
the
get like
orange is Cointreau,
yeah. Oh,
something like that.
something like that. Yeah, but
Uh,
not as sweet as Cointreau.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting like toasted bread, of course, which is not surprising. You know, you get that malty, toasted, roasted notes, and I'm getting like yeast and bread character
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, which has got a kind of jamminess that,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. Wow. It's like a dessert beer, but it's not
It
overly
is.
heavy because it has enough residual sugar, but not excessive.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, this is really,
Um,
really, really something.
yeah, we need to buy more.
Yeah.
Everyone, if you're watching this, don't buy it until we buy our stash here. We're going to go out and buy half a
Go buy
dozen.
your own stash. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah,
buy at least a
this is an
six pack.
exceptional beer, and
Yeah. And it's nice. And it's got the finish is because it's not heavily hopped, it's actually a fairly clean finish. It's got kind of a light malt smoked spice,
yeah,
but fairly clean, which
that's
is
part of the body element. I'm talking about the
yeah.
lighter kind of element. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's yeah, it makes for it's kind of nice as a dessert beer. It's one that's not, overly heavy by any uh stretch of the imagination. So
Yeah. An exceptional beer, really. I think, and I think you're right. Maybe a year in the in a dark, cold fridge would be perfect, and
yeah.
see how
Yeah,
this comes
cooler
out.
room.
Wow.
Mm, yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. Boy, I bet you they're gonna save back some kegs of this and let it age a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, if we need to contact you, I'm sure he's doing it, but we should just remind him to please do this. So that, like at
Yeah.
Christmas, we can drink. This is like a Christmas beer, a perfect beer for
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah, and yeah, save it for Christmas. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, definitely.
People at the
Yeah.
festival who had it in can, and some people had it. We had it in can and
Yep.
on tap. Say it was different, quite different, because you gave me a taste of it at the beginning of the festival, and later I had a sip
Right.
from Mark's can, and I said, "Well, these
Yeah.
are completely different, or not completely, but it
They're
doesn't seem like the
yeah,
same
they were
beer
quite
exactly."
different.
Mm.
That's quite fair. I think the temperature, of course, it was smoother. I think it was even more smooth out of the on draft. Maybe even maltier. It's hard. I need to compare A and B side by
Sure.
side.
And
We
the
should do that.
environment too, the environment sitting outside, on a
Yeah,
relatively warm day, and
yeah,
you know,
and
yeah,
yeah, festive environment. So really
sure,
different,
yeah.
but very good.
It's not fair to really review a beer, although I did review several
Yeah,
beers at that. But,
yeah, you can still do that. It's no problem.
so,
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, this is a winner. Um,
yeah,
the price tag is not too high for a decent craft beer in Japan. It was
eight, a little,
750
yeah.
yen at the store. Online, I think they are offering it for 770 yen. What did you pay for it?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember?
I thought I saw 770 online, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely worth it. You can also get like a six pack with three of these and three of the Nami Nami, is it?
Naminato. Yeah.
Nami Nato, which was
Naminato. Anyway, yeah,
Nami
yeah.
Nami Nato. Yeah,
There
like
are other
lick my
collaborations.
natto, I guess is what that means. But anyways,
Nato.
yeah, but that was the other one that they released, and that was with Nelson Savan, and that was pretty good too. That
I
was
didn't have
very
that one. Yeah.
interesting.
Okay. So
Oh, yeah, I
you
was being
want
stingy. I should have bought you one.
you want to
I
go
should
out
have
and
bought
try
you
this
one.
beer for sure.
Yeah,
750 or 770 yen online, and in US dollar terms is about $5. In
yeah,
euros, about four. 4.5 euros or so.
Yeah, this
Go
is
give it
this is a
try.
good one.
8.5%.
Yeah,
As Al said, it's like a Christmas beer sort of thing, and you will probably never taste anything quite like this.
you will. Yeah, this is a very unique. I would definitely, if you're visiting Japan, take some of these back home, get them and put them away for half a year in a cool, dark room somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Bury
Well, that
them in
is
the
it.
backyard.
Bury them in the backyard. Yeah. And that is it for today. Thank you very much, Al.
Thank you.
And all of you take care. Please stay
Yes.
well, be healthy, and drink good beer.
Yes, come by.
Bye-bye.